Residential electric customers who install solar panels have questions about their Alliant Energy electric bill. It's true, solar can reduce or eliminate electricity costs, but you still have an electric bill. Your bill is likely to have an energy consumption charge some months and a generation credit other months. Let's review what determines your electric bill and how we factor in the energy your residential solar panels produce. In this video, we'll explain a bill for an Iowa customer who installed a residential solar system under the Inflow Outflow tariff approved by the Iowa Utilities Board. In this example, the customer consumed more electricity than their solar system produced. The customer's account has an energy consumption charge from Alliant Energy. First, let's go through page 1 of an electric bill. The first page summarizes the account. At the top right, you will see your account number, the bill amount due date, and the amount due. You'll also see your previous balance, which was the amount due on last month's bill, the payment received, which was the last payment you made, the balance forward, which includes your previous balance minus any payment received, and your current charges, the charges accumulated for this month's bill. On the left side, you will see the readings we obtained either remotely or manually from your meter during the bill's time period. If you see an estimated next to either number, it means we estimated that reading. Below the meter readings is the number of electricity units you consumed during the reading period. We calculate this based on the difference between the two meter readings. On the first page, you will also see your energy usage. You can compare this to previous months. Below that are the degree days. This is an energy consumption indicator based on average outdoor temperature. Next, we'll explain your energy charges and calculations. Pages 2 and 3 detail the charge breakdown for the electric portion. You will see your rate schedule and the number of days the bill covers. Here you will have your meter information. This shows the energy delivered to you from the grid and the energy the grid received from your solar system. The delivered portion identifies how much electricity Alliant Energy delivered to you. In other words, the amount of energy you consumed that became a charge on your account. This is also referred to as inflow electricity that flows into your home from the grid. You will see your meter number, the beginning reading, the end reading, and the total number of kilowatt hours used beyond what your solar system generated in that period. The received portion identifies how much electricity Alliant Energy received from you. In other words, it's the amount of excess energy your panels generated that your home didn't use at the time. Your system sent this excess energy back to the grid to Alliant Energy, and it became a credit on your account. This is also referred to as outflow electricity that flows out to the grid from your home. Similarly, you will see your meter number, the beginning reading, the end reading, and the total number of kilowatt hours your solar system generated in excess of what you used that period. Please remember that Alliant Energy's net meter does not interact with the solar panel meter your installer provided. We do not know how much energy your solar system produced overall, and we cannot measure the total amount of electricity your home used. We can only measure inflow and outflow from and to the grid. Moving on, the subtotal inflow energy charge amount is the cost of the total charges for the electricity Alliant Energy delivered to your home. We calculate this based on either a winter or summer step and applicable tariffs for your rate schedule. During certain months of the year, the price per kilowatt hour of energy decreases as you use more. If you use enough energy to qualify, you'll see this rate difference reflected on your bill as steps. Let's take a closer look at how we calculate these charges. In this example, because our billing period covers the winter months, you'll see a winter step. Each step has a ceiling or cap of kilowatt hours. The cost of electricity remains the same until you reach this certain number of kilowatt hours on average per day. At this point, you max out the cap and begin to be charged according to the next step rate. In this example, the first step rate caps out at the first 16.438 kilowatt hours per day. We apply the first 16.438 kilowatt hours per day to this step, and that maxes out the first step. The second step caps out at the next 23.014 kilowatt hours per day. So this customer's total usage was 512 kilowatt hours. We calculate the average kilowatt hours per day during the billing cycle by taking the full amount consumed in the month, in this case 512, and divide it by the number of days in the bill cycle, in this case 29. This gives us an average of 17.655 kilowatt hours per day. The first 16.438 of those maxed out the first step rate, and because they only used 1.217 kilowatt hours on average per day beyond that, they will be billed for that amount on the second step rate. Now that we understand where those units of electricity come from, we can calculate the cost. We multiply the kilowatt hours in the first step by the number of days in the billing month, 29 days. We then multiply that result by the first step, and that gives us the total charge at the first step rate. We then follow the same equation to calculate the second winter step rate charge. To calculate the remainder of the section, we take the delivered usage, 512 kilowatt hours, and multiply that by the applicable tariffs for each line item. This gives us a total for each item. Once we get the total per line item, we add them all together. The amount equals $77.74. This is our example customer's total charge for the energy they consumed. That's the energy that flowed in from the grid to their home. The next step is to calculate the subtotal outflow energy credit amount, the total credits of electricity Alliant Energy received as excess from our example customer's solar system. Like the section above, this energy is calculated based on either a winter or summer step and applicable tariffs for the rate schedule. Let's take a closer look at how we calculate these charges. Again, because our billing period covers the winter months, you'll see a winter step. As explained previously, each step has a ceiling or cap of kilowatt hours. In this case, the cap is the maximum number of kilowatt hours at each step rate that a residential solar system can produce and then send to the grid for Alliant Energy to purchase at each step rate. The first step caps out at the first 16.438 kilowatt hours per day. The second step caps out at the next 23.014 kilowatt hours per day. And the third step is anything over 39.452 kilowatt hours per day. Because the system produced 292 kilowatt hours, which averages out to 10.069 kilowatt hours per day, and that is less than the first step cap, we'll only apply one step on the bill. We multiply those kilowatt hours on the first step by the number of days in the billing period, 29 days. And then we multiply that result by the first step tariff, and the amount equals $29.11. To calculate the remainder of the section, we take the received excess usage of 292 kilowatt hours, and we multiply that by the applicable tariffs for each line item to get the total for each item. Once we have the totals for each line item, we add them all together. The amount equals $44.80. This is the customer's credit for the energy their system generated as excess, the energy that flowed out from the solar system to the grid. Now that we've calculated our inflow energy charge and outflow energy credit, we find the difference between those totals. The energy charge is $77.74. When we subtract the energy credit of $44.80, we're left with the remaining charge balance of $32.94. Because this example home consumed more energy than its system produced, and since the customer had no previously unused energy credits known as banked credits, the customer's billed energy amount is $32.94. The final portion of your bill summarizes your charges. As we've said, because in this example, the customer consumed more energy than they generated and had no banked credits, the billed energy amount is $32.94. The customer is also responsible for the basic service charge that covers the cost of their service, meter, and the maintenance of utility equipment. To calculate that, we take the number of days in the billing period, 29, and multiply it by the tariff for a total of $12.39. The last items on your bill are the franchise fee or the local option sales tax, if they're applicable. A franchise fee, where applicable, is a charge of between 1% and 5% of a customer's bill total as determined by their local city council. Now, to calculate this, we take the billed energy amount and add the basic service charge for a bill total of $45.33. Then we multiply that result by that franchise fee percentage, which in this case is 3%, for a total of $1.36. If your town does not have a franchise fee, your billed energy amount plus the basic service charge is multiplied by the local option sales tax percentage if that is applicable in your community. Finally, we add those totals up, and the bill equals $46.69. This is the amount due on the customer's bill, and it cannot be covered using energy credits. The customer must make the full payment to avoid late fees or disconnection. For additional resources regarding Alliant Energy's customer-owned generation services and processes, visit alliantenergy.com/sellmypower.